guys, welcome back. In this episode I'm going to be designing and building a bar stool that you see here. It took me a while to kind of design it and figure out all the angles and everything that I wanted to use. Some of the math got to freshen up on my trigonometry a little bit. And here's the general seat plan. It's tough to see, but you'll get the idea. As you can see, I milled up all of my boards here. I glued, it's basically all one board to the color. Differences should be pretty minimal. And then I glued them up. So these are doubles here. I also tried to match up the grain. So I have straight grain matching up with straight grain, a little bit of curliness matched up with curliness, and that goes straight through both pieces. So if you see how this is straight, this is a little more curly, this is straight, that's curly. So when I'm shaping out the seat, hopefully the grain will not have too many abrupt changes and look as good as I can. I did it because I didn't have any 2-inch thick cherry to work with, or 8/4 or 1.5 or anything that thick. So I pretty much had to do it this way unless I wanted to go out and buy some more cherry. But I have a good stock of cherry. It's just all 4/4. So I think this will work. It doesn't have to be perfect. And last time I laminated a whole bunch of cherry together, it blended really well. So definitely worth giving it a go. So I'm just about ready to glue this up, and then I'll probably either drill my holes for the legs or cut the template out. Not sure which I'll do first. So here I am gluing it up. You really want to make sure you have lots of glue on the surface so there's no gaps when you go to carve it out. And you really have to watch when you glue up these. Since I did 4/4 boards, so each board that you see here is actually 2 boards thick. Like the knots are positioned in a way that won't get carved out, and then you'll have a hole in your seat that you can't really fill. So you have to watch that as you're making this glue up. So just lightly planed it down to get it a little bit flatter since the edges weren't perfect. I didn't tape, but I had put my paper template on there and did poke a couple holes that you can see for the spindle holes and the center hole. And then I just used this stick here to draw my arcs. My outer arc is 9 inches radius, and then the smaller one is a 7. And then my spindles are at the 8 in the middle there. This was a little tough to see when to stop, because I couldn't go past it because then it would start arcing back into my straight line. So I just marked a little spot where I could take the template to, and then I just stopped it. And then I flush trimmed the rest of it since I couldn't get all the way through the router. I tried a couple different methods of getting the back of the seat to bend. This one, as you can see, did not work. Bench is not heavy enough. So I just went with this because you can see there's a little bit of gaps in the back there in between the pieces of wood, so I wasn't sure if I could find a better way to use it, but I eventually just went with the form, and then as you'll see later, I put some vice grips on it to close the gaps up. Vigorously putting glue on as fast as we could, and amongst the chaos I didn't get the camera to show you the actual glue up, but everything went pretty well, so pretty happy with it.
Oh my.
So it's been about 24 hours. So we'll take this all off. The vice grips were kind of put along in spots where there's a little bit of gaps showing. of truth. Looking good. I think it's slightly attached. So I'll bring you around.
So you can see.
That's about all the spring back we got. So that looks pretty good. It's got some glue on the outside here, but it should be sandable. One thing that was kind of an issue was I didn't get to it quick enough, was getting all these boards pounded down flat. As you can see, this side's a little worse than this side. Both of them are great. It was pretty good around the back. I'm just going to cut these somewhere in there. I'll probably put some angles on it. Hopefully I can joint the top here, right on the joiner. Just kind of curling it around it, and then try and fill in any gaps. So I was able to take off the guard on the joiner, which allowed me to actually rotate this whole piece through. Worked out really well. Made the top and the bottom nice and smooth. This was an important step, tracing this onto my plan, because then I could actually mark out how much distance it had to travel over what height and be able to do the math correctly for drilling my holes and my spindles. Just lightly sanded the outside and the inside. Came up pretty nice. All the glue went away. This was my angled table that I made for my drill press to drill all of my holes that were in my seat blank, and then also around for the back of the seat. I think these were all about 9.5 degrees. I put the seat blank up a little bit so it would be level with the outside of the back of the seat, so I could have a nice base for my router, keep it nice and level. I did have to watch when I drilled these. I was worried about the angle. Since it's almost 2.5 inches thick or long, having too much angle would have it come out on the inside of your back of the seat, which would not look good. I underestimated how much time I'd have to spend on the lathe during this project. There's a lot of spindles that go into the back of the seat, the legs, the stretchers. It all takes time. So I first drilled out just the two backs and the two sides, just to kind of double check that my angles were going to work and everything would fit. So once I got that on, it was kind of nice and it looked like a seat. And then I proceeded to drill the rest of the holes then. So what I'm going to try and do next here is I got all of these in. These weren't too bad since I was more worried about being consistent than accurate, because they're all the same exact angle. It's about like a 9.5 degree angle out, all on those different vectors, all splaying from the center line here. But my idea is for the last two, which I didn't drill yet because I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but I think I'll try, is to still have it splay out 15 degrees, but this time I'm going to have it go a little bit more forward, so it'll look kind of like that, just to set it off a little bit apart from the rest of them, and to hold this on a little bit better, I think, too. So what I'm probably going to do is I have to figure out exactly from this point the angle. I'll drill this first, and then I'll look through the hole and I'll make sure that kind of lines up with the other hole, and if it does, then I'll drill this one, and if it doesn't, then I'm going to hack it off. But I think I should be okay as long as my math is correct and I'll line it up all good. But that's the plan. So we'll go for it and hope for the best. So I was able to wrap around the back of the chair, just around the seat blank, to get my sight line drawn. A little harder to hold this on the angled table because there wasn't as much material to hold it there. I drilled it into the seat blank, same angle as the top. And there you go. It actually turned out pretty good. Here I'm putting down some lines for doing my depth holes for when I do the power carving. I'm also kind of getting my sight lines for my seat or my leg holes. I did move my back leg holes over a little bit because the angle was running pretty close to the angle of the spindle, so I just moved it over so it went in between the two spindle holes. So that's the back leg. And the other one there. I had routed out that lip inside the inside radius because I thought it would help me have like a little guide for when I carve it out. In retrospect, the slope of that bit is a little bit stronger than I probably would have wanted, but it's in the back, so it's not as noticeable, but I probably would have drilled it maybe to a little lesser depth. The angles that I drilled for this, the leg holes, is different because I have the seat. I originally thought I wanted about 4-degree angle sloped back. I did end up going more with like a 3.5. This is what I used to drill my depth holes, just like a block of wood. And then I used that little shim right in the middle there to kind of shim it out in 1/8 increments, because I started the first one towards the front is 5/8, and then I did a 3/4, and then the back one is 7/8. So coming up, get in part 2, get to try out my hand in power carving. It was the one thing in this build that I was kind of dreading, but also looking forward to. So you'll get to see how that goes in the next part. Hope you enjoyed, and part 2 coming out soon.